Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast which we disassemble a film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe into 1 minute segments and then examine it in obsessive and occasionally hilarious detail. I'm Kyle Olson from the Swashbuckling Ladies Debate Society podcast.
Hey, and I'm Rob Cabasco, and gentlemen,
yes,
it is time for definitions from Wikipedia.
Oh, everyone's favorite section.
In semiotics, linguistics, sociology, and anthropology, context refers to those objects or entities which surround a focal event. In these disciplines, typically a communicative event of some kind. Context is a frame that surrounds the events and provides resources for its appropriate interpretation.
Context.
Thoughtful sounds. Appreciative sounds.
Semiotics, is that how you say that?
Yeah, semiotics.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Context.
Context.
That's it. The word of this minute? Context.
And that word context, out of context, here in minute 15 of Iron Man 2 from 2010, directed by Mr. Jon Favreau. We are in the middle of the trial of Tony Stark, sort of. But we have just seen the entrance of Colonel Rhodey Rhodes, and now played by Don Cheadle, and he has been called by Senator Stern to testify about the Iron Man suit and does it present a threat. And so he is being told that he needs to read from a report that he has compiled.
His report on the Iron Man weapon compiled by Lieutenant Colonel Rhodes, and he has been asked to read page 57, paragraph 4.
You're requesting that I read specific selections from my report.
Yeah, you just read it. Yeah.
It is my understanding that I would be testifying in a much more comprehensive and detailed manner.
Everything changed. It changed 2 minutes ago.
Reading a single paragraph out of context does not reflect a summary of my findings.
No, just read it. And you know what? Here's the thing.
I'm no Don Cheadle, but
we're laughing at this. Yeah, right. We didn't. That was one of our readings. Now, okay, we're laughing at this. If you've ever watched C-SPAN, this happens all the time.
Oh yes, because the people who are trying to score political points are looking for the soundbite.
Because once again,
the
context,
the 5-second thing, context
or lack thereof.
Yeah,
I want the one sentence that supports my argument. Give me that one over and over again.
Yes.
Yeah, even I remember even in the West Wing they did that. They're trying to find the one sentence they can use instead of just the nuanced approach. So obviously I think that was really smart of Rhodey too, because he knew exactly what was going on, exactly what they wanted, but he was trying to make sure that everyone understood. Hey, you guys can see what's going on here, right? You see what he's trying to do.
Actually,
I did a lot of work on this huge report, and he's making me just pull one sentence out.
Well, but do you also even get the nuance? And I think this is awesome by Don Cheadle. What an awesome introduction to his take on the character. Yeah. Because what you get from his performance of this is he's saying all this stuff. He's only saying it for an audience of one, himself.
Yeah.
He honestly doesn't care. Honestly,
and he knows he's going to lose.
He knows he's going to lose. And there is a level of annoyance in his tone that's I'm a military person. I'm here to do my job. And this crap show is not my job.
Yeah.
And that's what he's literally saying in the stuff. I mean, it's not even just in his words, it's in his delivery, and it's perfect. It's exactly
the whole showboating politicians thing, he can't stand it. You could tell he's just oh, guys.
Exactly.
And he's not making a big thing of it. He's not demanding or pounding his fist on the table. He's not getting mad about it. He's just continuing to make this same point. You understand? You need to know. Yeah, it's incredibly well done.
Yes.
And so the sentence then he is forced to read is, as he does not operate within any definable branch of government, Iron Man presents a potential threat to both the security of the nation and to her interests.
Which that thought is interesting because it will have payoffs years down the road in Civil War and the like, where people essentially take that same idea and run with it to its ultimate conclusion.
Yeah. Every once in a while, something like this comes up especially in phase 1, where I can see the potential future of where this could have gone and that it doesn't. So it's like as much as I love the MCU and I love the choices they made, there's every once in a while you get a glimpse of where things could have gone. And especially in Iron Man 2, there's a bunch of paths not taken. And I see that even in that sentence, there's so many Iron Man villains. Even I read that list a couple of episodes ago from Justin Hammer, the people that never got their chance to be on because the Iron Man story essentially is done for now. But like the idea of that we could get Titanium Man, we could get Crimson Dynamo, we could get all these other armored people, like armored enemies that him to fight. That would have been so cool. I look at all these great enemies that Iron Man had, and we never got to see any of them. It's sort of like, sometimes it makes me a little bit sad. Like, we got Whiplash, we never got Spy Master. Ghost was actually a enemy of Iron Man before ended up being in Ant-Man and the Wasp. There's all these great sort of, some of them are gimmicky, but great enemies that would have been really cool to see cinematically that we never got a chance to. And like something like that makes me think of all the possibilities that never were.
Well, if I recall, am I thinking wrong? Or I thought I remembered seeing like early drafts of this movie before so many like rewrites and other actors came in that Crimson Dynamo was supposed to be the villain.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And so until things changed.
Yeah, until things changed. Yeah, because even I even talked about it in a previous episode, I believe. But in the behind the scenes of even Iron Man 1, they're touring and they show the armor. I think that what will become Ironmonger, and they refer to it as the Crimson Dynamo armor. So they were talking about it even then. And then when they were doing this one, they're going to and even if we want to get back into Roads Not Taken, which of course I brought up, but when they did the first panel for the first Iron Man, Jon Favreau said the villain of the first Iron Man movie is the Mandarin. Like that, he same in front of Hall H and everywhere else. He said that's who's going to be the main villain. And then as they continued on, they decided not to, so they pushed him into the second one. And now we have the second Iron Man movie, and there's no sign of the Mandarin. And so they moved it into the third one, and now here we are. The Iron Man story is done, and there's still no sign of the Mandarin except for one little homage that we'll talk about sort of probably in credits here. But yeah, it's how plans change. But then and I get it. I understand that this is the way that the business works and stuff too. But every once in a while, I kind of think of Roads Not Taken. And
what
sure.
You're gonna hope for? You're gonna hope that Doolittle 2 doesn't bank. And here's how you actually make that work. You make it an animated show on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Exactly.
The Iron Man,
and you have
Chronicles.
It be yes. Like the untold tales of Iron Man.
I would totally watch that.
Yeah. Yes.
And you have and you can do all those kind of things, and you can show, and that's the way you can do probably what my favorite Iron Man story is, which is Armor Wars. They never got to do anything like that because I don't know, we're wildly digressing off of
folks. There's not much more to this minute. So
there's really not much more to this minute. But this is one of the things where I was always hoping they would do is, so there's a huge, because what they're alluding to in this movie happens in the comics, but never happened in the MCU, which is all these other people went like, well, I can do that too. And so they all come up with different ways of doing the Iron Man armor. And so there becomes this proliferation of Iron Man-esque characters out there, including S.H.I.E.L.D. using certain armored thing for like guards for like the superpowered prisons and things like we see in Captain America Civil War. They have like armored guards because they're superpowered criminals. Then Tony Stark finds out that someone has broken into his computers and stolen designs of his stuff and shared it with all these supervillains. So he has to then go out and fight all of these armored enemies to get his technology back because they're using Stark technology to do criminal activities and possibly even worse. And so, but then he finds out that same technology is also being used by S.H.I.E.L.D. and like heroes, and so goes after them too to get it back. And so he becomes sort of an enemy of the state because he's now attacking legitimate military, things and S.H.I.E.L.D. and that kind of stuff. So the heroes sort of end up turning on him because he's going after the good guys too, even though in his mind he's just trying to get back what's his. It's like this fascinating like. Only Tony Stark can do this kind of story because like he sort of plays both sides of the line, and it's like, oh, that would have been really cool to do. And so yeah, as an Untold Tales of Iron Man animated series, that's the perfect story for that, because you build up over the course of the episode all these technological villains, and then the twist in the one is like, yeah, they're all using Stark technology, and so the second season then is him like having to do this and then becoming an enemy and then fighting all these other heroes. And Armor Wars. Actually, I think they even tried to do Armor Wars 2, which was not quite as good. But
I hope our Disney Plus overlords are listening.
That's right. Right after they do the Spar series that we talked about in Hulk. Yes. Untold Tales of Iron Man.
What if?
Untold Iron Tales? I don't know.
We can do that.
I'm sitting here trying to think of a good title.
Exactly.
I can't.
The Iron Age. The Iron.
I'm drawing a blank. I'd have to sit for a few minutes and do some word association and draw some diagrams. And
right.
and of course, what will the actual title be? Iron Man, the animated series.
Yeah, Iron Man : the animated series.
Okay.
Glad I put in all that work early on.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. It's great.
He reads his paragraph, and then he goes back and forth, sparring a little bit more with Senator Stern on the. And he's trying to say it. Well, I did go on, and he just keeps getting cut off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the end. They don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So now you have, and this literally comes to the end of the minute. I think this absolutely brilliant exchange between Tony and nonverbal of Justin. Tony then interrupts as this is happening with, I'm not a joiner, but I'll consider Secretary of Defense if you ask nice. What a wonderful way to pivot the conversation.
Yeah,
that was clearly an incredibly damning piece of testimony on Rhodes's behalf. How do you diffuse it? Humor, snark, and trying to bring it all back to, you guys know I'm in control of all this. Just give me the reins, right?
Right.
So you have that thing, but the best part of it is he says it. There's laughter back. He's got the audience back. Justin Hammer's expression is so wonderfully delivered because as he says it, Justin Hammer's got his thumb in his sort of mouth, holding up his face. He looks at him with this incredible, serious look that only a parent could give a child, right? It is full disdain. And he looks at him, and then he just kind of blinks and looks down like, the gravity of what you have done here. You have besmirched the good name of the United States Senate. Why have you done that? It's so But okay, here's what's amazing is it's perfect. It's so over the top and so sanctimonious, Anthony, look what you did.
Anthony. That was the look. It was
Anthony.
I love it. I love this character. It's
great. I think you have an episode title now too.
Oh, Anthony. Anthony.
Oh yes. No, I just love it.
And of course, Tony Stark always has to have the last word. So after he says about the Secretary of Defense thing, he says, and we can amend the hours a little bit.
There's more.
Yeah,
if you're going to step in with 1 foot,
9 to 5. Come on,
you might as well go with both feet. So yes, he does.
Yeah, and if they believe, let's say the last word actually, of course, goes to the senator who says, "I'd like to go on and show," and that's it. That's where it literally ends. Is in the middle of that sentence. So even by the clock of the movie, the senator's getting disrespected. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So Ryan, have you been looking for a place that you could talk about movies like this in a preview context, in a social media platform that reaches across the entire world?
So much. Is there anywhere you could point me?
As a matter of fact, there is, because The Next Reel has a group on Facebook.
What?
It's true. It's called the Marvel Movie Minute to Next Reel Film Podcast Executive Lounge.
Wow.
And you're thinking,
logging on right now.
Well, let me make it simple for you. If you go to facebook.com/group/the next reel, it's there. You just have to apply for membership. Why? Because we're trying to keep out the bots and the weirdos and the Russians. No, not all the Russians. Just
the Russians.
Just the Russian bots.
There.
Yeah.
They may have already gotten inside.
We're everywhere.
Wow. When you had that conversation, that was so wonderful. You're like, Ryan, is there any place you'd like to go and do stuff? And I'm like, yeah, please tell me where. And then I thought you were just going to go, there is none.
There is no such place.
Wouldn't that be nice, though?
No.
Unfortunately, we've come to a very sad moment here, is that this is the last episode that Ryan Dalton will be with us for now.
for now.
Ooh.
So thank you for hanging out with us for these 5 minutes and giving us your
I've had a
thoughts on
blast.
Iron Man. Would you come back and give us more thoughts maybe later on in the season?
Totally.
That's cool. So in the meantime, where can people find you should you wish to be found?
So I am on Twitter at Ryan Dalton. That's the letter I, Ryan Dalton. Instagram at Ryan Dalton. I'm on Facebook, but I'm not quite as active there. So the other two are the best places to find me. I'm an author, and so if you like books, then you could come find me. My series, the Time Shift Trilogy, is a series of time travel mysteries. And then my next book is a little ways off, just because COVID delayed publication schedules for every publisher. So look for that in a year and a half. But yeah, I do. So I do have another book that's coming. It's just going to be a year and a half instead of 6 months from now. So
we should be in the middle of Captain America by that point. So
yeah,
if I'm doing my math correctly.
In the meantime, my trilogy is out there for it's on Amazon if you want it digitally, but you can ask whatever fine establishment you like to buy books from, and those are there. And I'm a nerd as established here, so feel free to reach out if you want to nerd out about stuff too.
Yeah, and I can tell you that my daughter is a huge fan of the Time Shift Trilogy. She actually just did a book report on one of them.
What?
Yes. Well, she was told to do I'm make sure I get wow, she just sent me a message as I was talking. Well, it's like she knows. Middle grade fiction, is that the title?
So technically it's YA, but it's very young YA, so it kind of straddles the line between middle grade and YA.
Okay. She was told to find a book in there, and she picked one of her favorites. So that is
awesome. So yeah, it's called a crossover book. So yeah, definitely kind of has one foot in both. And so, well, A, thank you very much. That's super cool. And B, can I get a look at that report? I would love to see what
Absolutely. I will send it along to you.
Or at least the high points. I'm just so flattered. Cool.
Yeah, that's right. I'll just do the positive. We'll just it'll be big sections blacked out.
Right. Just redact the things that my fragile ego can't take.
But it's been great having you on the show, Ryan.
I've had a blast. Yeah, it's been great. Thank you for having me.
All right, so for the rest of you, even though Ryan won't be with us, we hope you will stay along with us, all you Ryan Dalton fans who followed him here, as we continue on with the trial of Tony Stark here in minute 16. See you next time. Enough said.
Bye.